Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day one of our daily creative challenge for Photoshop. How are you? Really good to see you. I'm Kathleen. I'm going to be your host for the next 2 weeks. And like I said, this is the first challenge. So if you were here yesterday, we did kind of our welcome stream where it's like, what's the daily creative challenge? How do I do this? That's exactly what you sound like. And then today we actually jump into Photoshop and make something. So if you are just joining us for the first time, please give me a shout out in chat. I want to see ya. I want to say hi to ya. And even if you've been around for a while, I still want to see ya. I see Eric Sue. He's been around for a while. Chad, been around for the longest. Alberto, what's up? Muller, good to see you. And Donna, really cool. So again, I'm Kathleen. I'm a designer at Adobe, and I focus on making tutorials. So this is perfect. We're going to have so much fun for the next 2 weeks. Before we get started, let me take you on a little journey. So whimsical. So if you want to actually register and maybe learn a little bit more about the Daily Creative Challenge, you can go to the landing page. Super easy. It's be.net/challenge/Photoshop, and I'm sure somebody will post that in the chat. Alberto, no chair spin. Alberto, I'm in a wooden chair. No spins here. I could just spin myself, maybe do a little game of musical chairs. Wow, I forgot the name of it for a second. Jennifer says, I'm here, sort of. Wild turkeys in the backyard. Oh my gosh, that is magical. My family would be going wild. They love wild turkeys. Very natural family. What's up, Emma? Alejandro? Good to see you, good to see you. Daria says, hola from Ecuador. Hola. How you doing? All right, so back to the Daily Creative Challenge. Again, you can come to this link, learn more about it, and officially register yourself. So if you haven't registered, you can click this button, and it will give you a prompt to join our community. But before we do that, let's scroll down a little bit, because every single day, a new challenge is unlocked. It's a little gamification for you. Super fun. So today, our first challenge is the cover image. Surprise, surprise, it makes sense. So on Behance, when you make a project file or a new project, you can make a custom thumbnail for your feed. And that is a really great way to entice people to come and look at your project. It should be really simple or very visually clear. Like, what is this project? What am I about to see? So that's what we're going to work on today. And I mentioned this in the chat before the stream started, but this is going to be really, really simple. These daily creative challenges are built for people who have never used Photoshop before or are really trying to sharpen their skills. So let's start super simple with the basics, and then we can keep adding on from there. But like I always say, these challenges can be leveled up for whatever skill level you have, and I actually really encourage you to take the idea of the current challenge and just go crazy with it. Use the simple workflow, but do something really magical. I'm really excited to see what you guys make. So, without even looking at what we're making, if you want to follow along with me while I'm designing, you can click this Get Started button, and that will take you to the download link where you can download the little PSD I made for you. So like I said, we are making the cover image. So it just says Daily Creative Challenge, and I'll show you more about that in a moment. And if you don't know what a cover image is, if you go to your profile, that's what these are, these little thumbnails. So really simple, they tell you what's going on. My more illustrative ones are a little bit more visually like, ooh, colors, I want to see what's going on in here. But for design, I like it to be a little more clear, like, this is a daily creative challenge. Come along and look. You know what I mean? Darius says, how's the Corona life? How are you doing, Darius? I'm hanging in there. And chat, I know we've been saying this for the last week or so, but if you want to talk about anything that's going on in the world, protests, coronavirus, anything you're dealing with, we are totally happy to hear and listen. And if you want to chat, feel free to direct message me on Discord as well. Speaking of Discord, let's jump over there. So another part of these daily creative challenges is the community chat. Part of that is the chat that you're talking in right now, but another part is Discord. So Discord is open 24/7. It's where you can get info on the challenges every day if you don't want to go to the landing page. And the best part is if you go to this current challenge feedback channel, this is where you're going to upload your work today when you're done with it to get feedback on your first challenge. So when I'm done today, at the end of this 25-minute stream, I will upload my work here. You can critique it, help me out, make it better, and then I can always upload it to Behance after I make some edits. So that's a huge part of design. If you're new to design or the creative fields, critiques are super normal. It is not a bad thing to have people tell you what they like and don't like about your work. It's usually constructive, and it should be. We're super kind on Discord, so don't worry about posting like your first project ever. People are going to be really excited for you, no matter what. Orange says, hello, Kathleen. Hi, I see you. And if you want to join us on Discord, it's super duper simple. All you have to do is go to this link, bit.ly/psdiscord. The P and the S need to be capitalized to get there, and you can join for free. You can do it on your phone, on your desktop, or on a web browser. Anya, hello. Good to see ya. All right, so let's actually jump into Photoshop. Enough talking. Let me switch this back over. And so like I mentioned, we are going to be making a start or a cover image for our challenge. One thing about Behance is it's helpful if each project you have has a lot of depth to it. So we're gonna make one project, and that's gonna hold all of our challenges for the next 2 weeks. Does that make sense? So we can start with the starter file, and if you already have a cover image that you want to use, this could just be a banner at the top of your project, kind of like a starter at the top as they scroll down. So feel free to do with it what you will. And if you've never been in Photoshop before, we did a little bit of a tour yesterday, but let me show you again. On the left, right over here, is our tools panel. That's where all of our tools are. It's like our toolbox. Up on the top, up here, is the control bar. So when I choose different tools, that control bar changes to let me edit things, edit the way the tool works. And on the right is our panels, our panels. So panels are really liquid. You can move them around, you can dock them in different places, put them back, you can get rid of them. I can close this one, close this one. I don't really need to use the tutorials right now because I'm in a tutorial right now, so we could maybe close that. And there we go. So one thing that we want to do to make this cover image shine is to take some simple text and just transform it a little bit. Like I said, we're not doing anything crazy. This is the first day. Let's start off slow. So we're gonna go from here to here. Do you see the difference? The text is just being skewed. It's being duplicated in the background and scaled up. So today's challenge is all about transformation. How to distort objects, how to transform it, rotate it, scale it, change the perspective. So I'm going to show you all of those things, but we're going to end up just with a really simple transformation. And it's pretty visually stunning, right? There's a lot of contrast. You know exactly what it is. I dig it. All right. Basic Photoshop stuff. Yes, Darius, very basic. What's up, Frank? Good to see you. All right, so if you've opened your starter file, you should have 2 text layers. They're layered on top of each other, and if I turn off one or the other, you don't really see much of a difference. Actually, one is a different type of typeface than the other. These are already put in there in the starter file, so when you open it, you might get a little window that says, you need to sync these typefaces. Go ahead and activate them, and then you will have them in your Adobe fonts. So we have a graphic, a little pointer graphic. We have a box that shows us where it's safe to put the text, so it will show up in our thumbnail. And we have a background layer that we can double click on, the color swatch, and change the color of if we want to. All right, so first let's just play with skewing some type. So I'm going to actually turn off one of these text layers so when I edit it, we won't see the other one. Let me zoom in here. So when I talk about transforming, it can be as simple as just using the move tool or tapping V on your keyboard to activate it. Let's move this one out of the way so I don't tap it. Mia says I activated 2 new fonts. Yes, you leveled up. Oh, Paula, that's awesome. You're new to Photoshop. You are in the right place. That's great. So when I use the move tool, you'll notice that this transform or bounding box appears around here, and there are these little handles or nodes that when I hover over, my cursor changes. So this one, if I grab it, it will help move it up. I could even scale it up. grab a corner, scale it from a corner. And to undo anything that you do, you can do Command Z on Mac or Control Z on PC to just go back, or just go to Edit and Undo. If I want to scale it not in proportion, like if I really want to skew things, I can hold Shift and click. And then I can do something like this. Very fun. We're going back. But I want to do something a little bit more specific than just changing the scale or the proportion of this text. I want to skew it. So to do that, I'm just going to go to Edit and Transform. Now when I go to transform, and even when I'm in this Edit menu, you'll notice that a lot of things are grayed out, and that's because I'm in a transform mode already. I'm using this Move tool. There we go. So I haven't transformed anything now, and we see a lot more options that are not grayed out. But let's go to Transform, and we could go to Scale. That's going to do basically the same thing that we were just doing, just increase or decrease the scale. I could go to Rotate, which we can rotate when we're just using the Move tool, but now we're using a tool that only rotates. So you'll notice that my cursor just stays the little rotation guy. Little macaroni friend, as we like to say. Boots and cats and exactly. So we could rotate it. That's also very fun. Twilight Zone-esque, or maybe Batman-esque. All right, gonna undo that. Let's try out a different one. And if you have a favorite transform mode, let me know. I'm not usually skewing or distorting, but when I am, I like a good skew, and that's actually what we're going to be doing with our text today. So with the skew, all it's gonna do, and if that rhymed, if you're familiar with Illustrator, this is similar to the shear tool, but all it's gonna do is grab one of the planes, so the two horizontal parallel planes or the two vertical ones, and we're just gonna move along them. Like we're a skier going through some moguls. Very slick. Kathleen with the sound effects. Can you tell? I'm drinking coffee. It's one of those mornings. What Mac do I have? I have a Yeti. Why, does it sound bad? Let me know. All right, so if we grab one over here, we can skew it down. And you'll notice how just these really simple transformations can make a huge deal when you're designing. If you look through Behance or Dribbble, you'll notice just a lot of type designs are very simple transformations that are clean because they chose a good typeface. There's good leading and kerning, which means the spacing between the letters and the lines. And all you have to do is these small tweaks. You don't have to do anything huge, especially if you're just getting started. Bobbing your head like a chicken. Feel a little bit like a chicken nugget today. Got this chicken nugget colored shirt on. Oh, it sounds good? I'm glad. Jennifer says I actually need to practice warp for my new piece. Need to lie things a bit flat. Nice. So this is really nice when you're trying to make a mock-up and you're trying to like maybe lay text on a piece of paper that's on a table. I'll show you how to do that. Which brings me to my next point. Whoa. If I go to Edit and Transform, you'll notice that Distort and Perspective are not able to be selected. So that is specifically because we're using a text layer. There's different types of layers in Photoshop. Text sometimes acts a bit strange because it's live. Like we can edit it as we need to, and that puts some parameters on the way that the layer works. But if we give this text layer a little bit of a magical item, a little amulet, we right click on it and convert it to a smart object. Now it becomes magical and it acts like a shape layer. So we can pretty much do anything with it. So if I go back to Edit, Transform, Distort, and Perspective are now available for us to play with. So I use Distort a lot to achieve perspective. I don't actually use the perspective tool that often. You can match the anchor points to different points on the horizon of your mock-up, edit things, but we're not going to do that today. And since you talked about warp specifically, you don't need to make a smart object for warp. You can just go Transform, Warp, and you will, whoops. Oh, there we go. I need to choose my mode. You can warp from here. Okay, so let's actually do what we want to do. I believe we need to turn on this other text layer. We're gonna select them both. So I'm gonna hold shift, I'm holding shift right now. I'm clicking this other text layer so they are now both selected. And then I can go up to edit, transform, and skew. So when I make this skew, I'm just gonna skew it down just a little bit. It's gonna affect both layers that I have selected. I'm gonna hit enter to confirm my transformation. You can also come up here to the top and click this little check mark. There we go. And now if I turn off my top text layer, you'll notice that the other text is also skewed as well. So let's turn on our pointer. Yep, that looks well placed. I like that. And let's make our final edit. So the final edit is making the bottom text way bigger and changing the color. Sound good? So to change the scale, remember we learned how to go to edit, transform, and scale, or we can just free transform it. So that is just using the move tool, or you can go to edit and free transform. You'll see that the hotkey for it is Command or Control T. I use that command all the time. Probably my most used one, besides Command Z to go back. All right, so I'm going to grab the corner, grab the corner, and I could scale out, but this way it'll only go to the bottom right quadrant of my work. I want it to spread out from the center and just basically blow up. So I'm gonna hold Option or Alt if you're on a PC, and that will scale it from the center. There we go. I could even zoom out by doing Command minus to zoom out. You can use the magnifier tool as well to do that. And let's just continue to scale this bad boy. It's getting so big that it's having a hard time figuring out where it's actually scaling to. Photoshop, what are you doing? I'm gonna look at my final to see how I scale it. Okay, I had the create in the middle. That makes sense. We could even move this around. And to achieve this look that I have in the final, you'll notice that the letters are a lot closer together, they're lines. So let's change the leading. So even though we've made all of these transformations, we can still edit the text. This is still a live text layer. So in our properties panel, which should be open if you just open up Photoshop for the first time, and if it's not, you can go to Window, Properties, open it up. In our properties panel, we will see a character area, and we are going to grab this leading tool, and I'm just gonna hover over the icon, click, and hold and drag left. That's the cool thing about Photoshop. You can do this with a lot of the icons. Just click on them and scrub to change it. You could also open up the actual menu and change it by hand. But let's do that. Maybe increase the scale a little bit more. Oops. Maybe even do it a little bit more. Maybe a little smaller. All right, good enough. Feel free to place things as you like. Now let's change our color by coming back to our properties panel in the characters area, clicking on this, and we can change the color. It will change in real time so you have a good idea of like what kind of end result you're gonna get. We'll click OK. Let's turn back on our original. There we go. We have a cover image. We want to make sure to turn off this text safe area box. That's really just a template for you to know where you can put text and for it to still be visible in your cover image. And that looks pretty good. Now, if you want to level things up, you could add some texture, you could change the font, you could add a gradient over the font so it's also changing colors as it's getting less dense. But if you know more about Photoshop, feel free to play with that. You'll notice that I added a little bit of texture in the background. It's very faint. Like I said, these are small little tweaks that make a big difference to the viewer. Hey, Selcook, I'm glad. We are starting off very simple, like I said. So let's export this and get it onto Behance and onto Discord so we can get some feedback. We're gonna go to File, Export, and let's do export as. We could do a quick export as PNG, but then we don't get to control the quality. That's more for if you're just sending proofs to people like, hey, what do you think of this? We could do that if we wanted to share on Discord to get feedback really quickly. But let's do export as. This is a good width and height. I set the template to be a size that will already fit on Behance. Looks good. We're gonna export it, and then we get to choose where we want to put it. You get a little sneak preview of what tomorrow's gonna be. What could mood mean? Ooh. So we'll do day 1, cover, final. Save it. And let's go to Behance and make our project. So I'm already signed into my account on Behance, and I'm just going to click this big blue beautiful button at the top, create a project. It's right there. Feedback when your mic is too close to your speakers. That's another way to talk about feedback for sure. All right, and then we are in the project editor. So it's pretty straightforward in Behance. All we want to do is upload our image. So we can either come over here to the left, upload files, or you can do it here in the middle. So I'll just click upload files. We are going to choose day 1, cover, final. Are these different? No, not really. Cool. Open her up. And there we go. It's acting as a nice banner at the top of our project, and we're also going to be able to set it as our thumbnail. So next, let's go to continue. And this is where we get to set our cover image. So it's nicely cropped right in the middle. We can title it Daily Creative Challenge, June 8th. You can title it whatever you want. This is just the way that I like to organize it because I have like 12 on my page. We could even zoom in here a little bit if we wanted to. That'll look nice. Nice border around everything. We're gonna crop and continue, and this is one of the most important parts of when you're making your project. You have to add creative fields. So what kind of people, what are they gonna search to find your project on Behance, basically? So this is definitely a little bit of branding, graphic design, maybe some illustration. You can always come back and change these as you figure out what the challenge actually is, but those are gonna work for now. So done. And then in discoverability, this is the way that you're going to be able to be found for that curated creative challenge gallery that we showed yesterday. So for the project tag, you're going to go PS Daily Challenge. That's basically the hashtag to get you registered to maybe be on that gallery. PS Daily Challenge. You can add a project description. You can even add more tags. And you can also talk about what kind of products you use. So I could tag a Photoshop, I could tag graphic design. Feel free to do what you like. We're gonna save that. And, whoops. Let's publish it. So back in the settings, click publish, and it's gonna be a new project on our portfolios. So here we go. Let's go back to my profile. There it is. It looks really nice with this one, actually. I'm happy about that. Cool. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this onto Discord to get your feedback so that I can edit it or update it if I get some good ideas. So let's go to Discord. Thank you, Darius. Don't forget to post on Discord. In the feedback channel, in current challenge, Anaya already posted hers. That's awesome. Oh, thanks for giving me a little bit of credit. That's great. I'm gonna upload it. So let's find it. Day 1. What do you think of the distortion? Too simple or just enough? It's always great to ask for specific feedback so people know how to help you. They know what you're struggling with. So I'll upload it here. And one of the cool things about these challenges is we have mentors in Discord pretty much all the time. I'll be hanging out in Discord giving feedback on them. We have all of our mentors listed over here. We've got Sam Peterson, Valdair, Voodoo Val, plus others. And even if you're not a mentor, you still get to give feedback and receive it. It's very give and take. It's a great community. So don't forget to join us on Discord. It's very important if you want to be a part of this beautiful community, bit.ly/psdiscord. And then I'm going to show the schedule for right after me. So we have a whole day of Adobe Live coming up next. We've got Ann Chin coming up next for hand lettering, and her stream yesterday with Val was Stunning. Then we have Andrew coming back at 11:30 for his day one of the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge. Then more XD with Brittany, followed by the XD Daily Creative Challenge with Andrea. That's going to be awesome too. And then we're going to finish up the day with more doodle therapy. Did anyone watch it yesterday? Very relaxing. So I will be back tomorrow morning for day 2. It's going to be very fun. Something that has to do with mood. What could it be? So stick around for more Adobe Live. Post on Discord, and I will see you tomorrow morning. Thanks so much for being here, and stay well today, guys. See you soon. Bye.